I was made in Australia. It's the only country that I've ever called home. My first time in a car ever was coming home from hospital in a two-door Holden Tirana. Like many Aussies, I've been lucky to travel a lot. A lot of that travel is for cars, modifying them, fixing them, and of course driving them. I've owned lots of cars too, and my first car was made in Australia, just like me. But people don't think Geminis when they think of the most Aussie cars. They think V8s, they think racing, they think red versus blue, the lion versus the blue oval. And it's about time I thought about it too. It's about time that I dived in to properly understand what all the fuss is about. There's one Aussie-made car I've always had my eye on. One car that stood out from a sea of taxis and government vehicles, made as a sports car first and transportation second. I'm talking V8, and we've had our fair share of V8s on this show over the years. We've stuffed them into all sorts of cars they aren't supposed to be in. But they got this one right back at the factory in South Australia a few years back. And I've finally got my hands on one. It's red, rear-wheel drive, a proper sports car, and it can do this.
This is a 2004 Holden Monaro, an Australian icon. Look at it go!
Finally, a car you've bought that I approve of, Martin. Australian muscle, people. We finally seen the light. I mean, I already saw it with my XR8 Falcon, and then I shone the torch for Martin, and now he's here with the rest of us.
You have paved the way, and this Monaro, the way was paved for this thing as far back as the 60s, when the original Monaro came out, a pillarless two-door coupe. It absolutely blew everyone away. They loved it. You could option all sorts of awesome engines into it, from a very simple six-cylinder up to a massive V8. And this, 20 years later, after the original Monaro disappeared, we got this, which is a Monaro V2. Everyone thought it was over, but it wasn't.
Now, what is this thing? Well, some would argue that it's just a Holden Commodore with two doors. It's still like a taxi inside. It's still got the same kind of cheap plastics, but underneath the hood here, this is where the party really starts. We got an LS1 V8 5.7 litre available, I mean, in a whole range of cars, but capable of making excellent power with some fairly basic modifications. But others would argue, no, the Monaro is a cultural icon, a piece of Australian history, and as such, costs 3 times as much as it really should have.
Cultural icon, not once, but twice. These days, these things are still kicking around. Like 95% of them were V8s, because everyone knew that V8 manual rear-wheel drive with a good little diff in there was the way to win the hearts and minds of Aussies, and that's exactly what happened with this freaking awesome coupe.
Any Aussie car lover worth their meat pie already knows that this reboot of the Monaro was a masterstroke. A secret internal project at Holden in the late 90s, a concept car so popular at the motor show at the time that GM had no choice but to let Holden make it. Around 14,000 were sold into Australia, with a further 40,000 making their way overseas, a huge export success. The car was manufactured in Elizabeth in South Australia on the same line as the famous Commodore it was based on. That plant opened in 1960 and closed in 2017, when Holden ended local manufacturing. But the Monaro still stands today as one of the coolest modern two-door coupes to ever come out of Australia.
Let me show you what you got for your money.
Hold on, speaking of the money, how much was this?
I'll get to that. This
Martin,
beautiful...
Did I pay for half of it again?
Of course you did. Don't worry about it.
Martin,
Just
Martin,
look at the beautiful two-door coupe for a second. Look at this, don't block the body lines. You got this beautiful two-door coupe, very, very unique. Of course, Australian built by Aussies in Australia, so good. You got this really, really nice leather interior, very nice big bolstered seats. This particular model is a Series 3, so we've even got some interior upgrades over the original version.
Interior upgrades, the dash, I'm not hating, but is that the same as a taxi?
Oh yeah, pretty much.
Okay.
Yeah, there's a lot of Commodore going on here.
In Australia, Commodore and Falcon are our taxis of choice. Before it was Camrys and stuff like that, this is what you'd go home in the middle of the night stinking of vomit and someone else's fluid in the back seat.
Guess what you also got from the Commodore that's awesome? A freaking ginormous boot. This is a properly practical car. Look at it. And it even comes with a Holden hat. So now I look full legit. See, do I look like a Holden person yet? Massive boot, very, very practical. And the Monaro has a little special secret inside the car. Look at this. Come and look at the back seats, everybody. Look at this. When you fold it forward, buckets.
Let me
rear
experience it, Martin.
buckets. How many cars do you know that have rear bucket seats? It's so comfy. Holds you in, plenty of room.
Do I
Look
fit?
at that.
Oh, dude.
You fit.
There's way more room back here than like in a Sylvia or a BRZ.
Of course there is.
This is
'cause
actually like usable back seat.
it is infinitely superior to all of those vehicles.
Very comfortable.
We've also got a pretty meaty diff. Now, not a very, very, very tight LSD. It does have an LSD, but it still likes to let one wheel go every now and then. We've also got the unique tail lights as well for the back of it. This particular car has a very cool number plate because the old owner had a 76 Monaro. See, Monaro people stay Monaro people because they're that excellent. This particular model as well, because it was a CV8R, got some special edition wheels, which attract gutter rash because they're so freaking massive. And of course, the most special part of all of this is the LS engine, which arguably is one of the best engines in the entire world.
Obviously, we've put these into a few different cars, and it's a very popular platform, obviously massive in the States. Looks pretty old, actually, doesn't it? Like compared to the rest of the car.
This particular example was really well loved, really well looked after. It's the second owner. He'd had it for like 18 years, absolutely loved the car. And so had looked after it, service history, minimal damage, a few marks here and there, but for a 20-something-year-old car, I reckon that's pretty good.
How much was it?
It was new from the factory and not even going there because it was so much money. I paid for this particular car 34,000 Australian dollar bucks, which is actually pretty cheap because a lot of collectors are holding on to these, using them as an investment, banking them, not driving them, hiding them up in garages and asking $70,000 to $100,000 for it.
Okay.
So I got it actually about half price.
Okay, yeah, whatever you need to tell yourself. Martin,
Thanks for paying for half, man. You're a good guy.
my XR8 was about 12 grand. It's got 4 wheels, it's got a V8 engine. Where is the extra $20,000? Like, where is it?
In the 2 doors that I don't have.
Is that it?
Well, there's other reasons, like it's got an LS.
But you can get other cars for an LS that don't cost 30 to 70. Like, I'm just trying to work out, like, other than like it's a Monaro, where is the money? Like, what do you get?
Is your car a Monaro though? Like it's not a Monaro. It's a Falcon, and Falcons are cool, but it's not a Monaro. Monaro, dude. There's just something a bit special. You'll see.
It's the badge.
No, it's everything, man. Look at it. It's a beautiful 2-door Grand Touring V8 rear-wheel drive, manual, all the good stuff, all the analogness, all the best stuff that they could ever come up with in that particular era, crammed into this body shell. Collectible, unique, freaking awesome and excellent.
And you legitimately love it.
I actually really like it. I've always had a soft spot for particular Commodores, but Monaro was it. But it was never the right time, and now's the time.
Okay. And just to clarify once and for all, I paid for half of it.
Thank you.
No,
You're a good friend.
I did?
You did.
Yeah, I own half of this car.
Yes. Why?
That's all.
Do you want to do a skid?
Yep.
There you go.
Let's go!
How good is it? Yes! Holden power. Look at it go, dude. So good.
I don't like it. I don't like it at all.
Bullshit.
I love it.
Alright, enough mucking around. Time to do some serious journalistic work and see what kind of power this thing makes.
We're down here at Castle Hill Performance. They actually specialise in LS engines, so we are in the right place. Martin, it's an old junky Monaro. How much power do you reckon it's going to make?
Take that junky word out your mouth. This is going to make... Okay, my 3-litre Mercedes makes 250 kilowatts. This is old, but it's also 5.7 litres and V8. Let's give it a little discount for being old off the 250 down to 225 kilowatts at the wheels.
183 kilowatts.
That's so low.
Dude, you're stuck in like new modern car engine things.
This is V8, man.
This is 25 years old.
Dude, Holden power. The V8 supercars, it's a V8 supercar.
But man, like technology has moved on. You're using modern brain, little engines that make lots of power and trying to think that old fat thing will do that.
It's making 225 kilowatts. Let's do this. Let's whack it on the dyno.
It's making 185 at the most. Anthony,
hi mate.
thanks for having us down. Now, when this car came out, the alternative and the superior vehicle from Ford was obviously the BA XR8. Now, that was the better car at the time, and because you and I both own Falcons, we can agree on that, right?
Well, not entirely, because I've sold mine.
Oh.
I went to the dark side and bought a Crusader because it was a better chassis.
Oh, that explains this.
Yeah. Well,
So, okay, so you don't own a Falcon anymore?
not anymore.
Okay, so who else can we talk to here?
No one, because we all own superior vehicles.
All right, tell me, what's the lowdown on the Monaro? What do you think?
Oh, look, they're great. They're rare. They're a specialty, two-door, everything like that. So they're a great car,
Yep.
and they still hold plenty of value for
Yep.
what they are.
I think the most exciting thing about this car is the engine, personally. Like, that's what excites me the most. What do we need to know about LSs? They're popular engines,
Popular.
almost godlike status for some people.
They're small. That's the biggest thing about an LS for a V8. They're small, so they fit in everything.
Yep.
So that's why they're very popular over, say, your 5.4, rubbish. But yeah, they're a great thing. They make plenty of power, and yeah.
Okay.
they're
I just want to put on the record that those Ford engines are indestructible. Okay, before we start, like, you can laugh all you want at 5.4s, they're indestructible. So I just want that on the record.
Well, yeah, we'll say they're indestructible to keep you happy.
Whatevs. All right, are we going to roll it up?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right, let's do it. Thanks for having us
No
down.
worries.
So Marty reckons it's going to make 225. My guess is 185. Chris, how much do you reckon it's going to make?
195.
Is there any world in which it will make 225?
Not a chance.
Is there any world it'll make 185?
Maybe.
Let it rip, mate. What is that?
180.
Nah. Nah, you do it right.
I did it right, mate.
Bro, you're 100% sure this is strapped properly?
Yeah, 100%.
Did you go full throttle?
Full throttle. You want to put a camera on it?
I want one more run.
Let's do one more run.
Confirm the kill.
They're going to go again.
Put it
second
flat.
run.
Let's go.
It is flat.
It is
Very
simple.
What did I say? What did I say?
I'll let one slip out. Are you disappointed?
It makes 50 less kilowatts than my Lancer.
He looks so surprised. The thing is, it's old and a bit shit.
You want to do one more?
Like,
No.
Are you
it's cool.
I don't
satisfied?
need to do one more.
Are you
It's just a bit
satisfied?
shit.
I appreciate you and all your skills, but that's some bullshit. I can't even-
It's locked you in.
It makes 50 less kilowatts than my Lancer. Like, Too Sexy makes exactly 50 kilowatts more than that.
Doesn't a Golf GTI with a tune make more than that? You've got a historic, like, kind of rare red car covered in bird poo damage and quite a bit of panel damage, though. Like, that's cool.
I've always wanted a Commodore, and I love Monaros. And really, this is not what owning a Commodore is about. Not even a little bit. It's not about dyno numbers. It's about feeling. It's about emotion. It's about how the car makes you feel, particularly when you are driving it. And these are known for being excellent at driving and excellent at doing donuts and burnouts and skids and looking awesome. So that's what this is really about. Would you agree?
No, I completely disagree. It's all about the power, which is why you either go and get a Ford XR8 or the true Halo car is an XR6 Turbo, which makes way more power anyway. Then you can get all of that bullshit you're talking about, but actually have power to back it up.
I think let's focus on what really matters with my Monaro, and that is what it's like to drive.
It feels amazing. It feels like, I'm just going to say it, you might not like it, an Australian GTR.
Yeah, okay.
You know what I mean? It's a Grand
Controversial.
Tour. It's like a big,
Yep.
heavy, two-door thing.
Yep.
You get on the highway, you just cruise around.
But this is what it's for. Like, look how effortless, like with a big V8 6 gear, want to overtake someone, away you go.
Yeah.
Pretty cool, man. And these were, like, in terms of what options you had at the time, we're talking 20 years ago that this thing came out.
Yeah.
And so what were your choices if you wanted a big car like that? I guess there were some big Euro two-door coupe things, but this was pretty good for its time. And also, you got to remember how much people frothed Commodores.
It was massive at that time, right? You got V8 supercars, you got burnout competitions. That stuff was obviously way more popular than it is now.
Yeah.
But what's really interesting about this is we've played with these engines a couple of times before. So we've played with them with BMW E30.
Yep.
We put one in the Silvia. Now the Silvia straight piped, that is one of the loudest things you've ever heard, and it shows you just how clamped down this whole thing. Because what can you hear right now?
Oh, nothing. Like, that's flat.
Nothing.
No, just
nothing at all.
Big old lazy V8, but the LS is a small V8 really. It's very compact, which is one of the reasons it's so popular. And this was an LS that was thrown into an Australian car. This was built in Australia. And there was a bunch of special editions, of which this is a special edition, not a particularly flash one, but there's limited numbers of this red with a manual in V8, C8R Series 3. There's a whole bunch of nerdiness around Commodores and all the models, but I'm really, really happy with it. It drives great.
Yeah.
Drives really great. Does it feel fast? Not really.
No.
But it feels composed and planted and all those other nice things about a car that is a Grand Tourer.
I think in Australia as well, what you've got to realise is that a car like this was iconic because either your mum had one, your dad had one, your taxi was one.
Yeah.
It's pretty much Falcons or Commodores, and I think that's probably one of the criticisms that there has been of this car, that it doesn't really feel like it's that much different to a Commodore. It's like a two-door Commodore, and I think what a lot of people were hoping for with the kind of the second coming of the Monaro was like this totally new, different thing.
Yeah.
And it's kind of not that, and I think in a way that's evidenced with the power as well. From what I understand, different LSs also made huge disparities in power. So
Yeah.
some of them made really good power, others didn't, but it is a piece of Australian history. Because of that, it's got to be retained, it's got to be looked after. Obviously, you keep the numbers of the engine and the car all the same, keep it pure, because that's important for a lot of Holden people.
So there you have it. I am beyond excited to finally own my very own Aussie-made V8 powered rear-wheel drive car. Now it's time to go shopping for some modern, tasteful mods to make this thing even better than the original designers could have imagined. And when they arrive, you'll see this car again soon on Mighty Car Mods.
Marty, as you know, as we kind of discussed, I did pay for half the Monaro, and as such, I do own half of it. So I have decided to take my half, which is right there. So I'm just letting you know now, full disclosure, that when you get back into Super Garage, the Monaro will have no engine. But that's a you problem, because your 50% is up on the hoist. My 50%, that's coming with me.